Well, good morning and happy Monday to you. This is James Hecker, Mortgage Advisor, NMLS number 214601, just bringing you the weekly mortgage rate recap and forecast. Well, the recap. So what's going on with mortgage interest rates? So they're down from about 2 weeks ago, and they were pretty flat during the Thanksgiving Day weekend. Pretty much the market took off a couple of days there, and so we anticipated there wouldn't be a lot of volatility or action necessarily during the Thanksgiving week, and that is the case exactly. So rates are lower than they were a couple of weeks ago, which helps out a lot when it comes to qualifying and a monthly payment. So what else is going on in the mortgage world? Well, housing inventory is down. So a couple of reasons for that. One of them is that a lot of times sellers will not want to have their property on the market during the holidays because they got a lot of things going on and they don't want to deal with that necessarily. But also it's indicative of the fact that buyers are starting to come back into the marketplace now that they're kind of getting over the significant increase in mortgage interest rates over this past several months, where mortgage interest rates have now gotten back to really the norm, where they were before the economic meltdown of 2008, when the Fed started pumping money into the system and buying mortgage bonds and really propping up low interest rates. And they're not doing that any longer because they really have to fight inflation. So we're in more of a normal market, and the market is beginning to adapt to that. So what about the forecast? Well, the forecasts, the Feds are saying that inflation is still their greatest challenge at this point. They want to get inflation back down into the 2%, 2.5% range when, we've been in the 8% range for core inflation over the past couple of months. And they had indicated that it may take a little bit longer than what they had first indicated to get that rate of inflation down. So they're going to continue to raise the discount rate when they meet again in December. But we talked a few weeks ago about pivoting. The last 4 times the Feds met, they raised the discount rate 0.75%. And it's widely anticipated now that when they meet again in December, that they may only raise that discount rate 0.5%, which means they're slowing down the increase in interest rates, and that's a good thing for our market. So that's something to look forward to. One of the things that's impacting us this week is illiquidity, and that's basically where there just is the opportunity for fewer investors of bonds to have a greater impact in the market at this point. There are fewer buyers of bonds than there are the bonds available to keep the mortgage interest rates down. And so, we do see a little bit of volatility this week. As far as outside factors, it's widely thought that the COVID outbreak in China, which is pretty substantial recently, and the subsequent protests from the Chinese people protesting against the draconian protocol of zero tolerance, where they just shut stuff down. No matter where you are, you're at the grocery store, at school, wherever you are, if a case pops up in the neighborhood, boom, you're stuck where you are. Disneyland had experienced that, or Disney World, or whatever it's called in China, had experienced that, where people in the park were just stuck. They weren't going anywhere until things loosened up. And so there's a significant number of new COVID cases in China. And there's also citizen unrest over being basically locked down under those circumstances. But our economists here tend to think that that won't have too much of an impact on the Fed's policy of raising rates to get inflation down. And it shouldn't have too much of an impact on our current interest rates. Now, that could change depending on anything that would happen that was unexpected. That could create volatility. But, for right now, we're thinking it's not going to have a big impact. But please, by all means, comment in the comment section below and let me know what you think about how China's issues with the COVID policy and protocols there, and people pushing back, which is not something that the Chinese Communist Party is really not familiar with, but there isn't a lot of that. People know better than to push back in China, but they're coming into the rope pretty much with some of these things. And so let me know what you think on that. And if you have any needs at all to discuss your current mortgage interest rate, if you have a desire to maybe take cash out of your property to buy an investment property or a second home or a remodel, a lot of people are staying in place and putting in a pool and adding on square footage, maybe an auxiliary dwelling unit to their home. By all means, give me a call at 661-714-2145 if you want to see what financing options might be available to you under those circumstances. And well, here it is, basically a couple of days away from December. We're coming to the end of the year. And one of the things that I like to talk about and train when I'm training loan agents or insurance agents is planning for the next year. What do you want your next year to look like? And so goal planning, goal setting, things like that is important about this time of year. And one thing that I think is really important, in fact, it's the foundation of goal setting, is defining values. So really, a goal has to have a why. Why are you seeking that goal? Why do you want to accomplish that? And that should be reflected by your values. And whatever those values are for you, whether it's faith or it's family or it's community, whatever it is that is important to you, that should be the foundation of your planning. So that's where we start. We start with what are my values? What do I want to be remembered for? One of the things that we talk about is, attending your eulogy, kind of looking back from there. What is it that you want people to be saying about you when you're gone? He was kind, he was thoughtful, he was considerate. She did a great job at lifting other people up, helping people get a leg up, as it were. So whatever it is that you want to be remembered for, that's a good place to start as to what truly are your values. And once you have that established, what your values are, then you want to look at action steps to achieve the realization of those values in your life. And those action steps, the way that I've done it and taught over the years, is I just have a little system I call 20 ways to make it better. And I'll take 4 areas of my life or 5 areas of my life. If it's 4, I'll take 5 things in each area. If I take 5 areas of my life, I'm taking 4 things in each area and establishing an action step. So, for example, spirituality. I want to improve on my spirituality. Well, what are those things that are going to do that? Well, daily prayer and meditation, attending service, volunteering, charitable giving. And I'll just list out, 4 or 5 of those things. And then when it comes to family, what are those things that I want to accomplish? A date night with my wife to make sure that that relationship is cultured and enhanced as we go. And I've been together with my wife, going on 40 years, so we want to continue to nurture that relationship. And when it came to my kids, things like reading with them, taking them out on activities, being a part of their activities, going on vacations together. So, finances, another thing, health is another thing. And I take 4 or 5 things out of each area and action steps as to what it was that I wanted to see improve. And from there, once I have those action steps that are based on my values, then I can really take a look at goals. What are my long-term, mid-term, and short-term goals? What are the steps that I need to take individually on a daily basis, even an hourly basis, to achieve those things, to improve those areas of my life, to realize my values and what's important to me. So if you have any questions about that kind of thing, something I've been doing for years, happy to share it. 661-714-2145 is my number. And you can always leave a comment here, and I will read those and respond. So I hope that you had a wonderful Thanksgiving, that you have a wonderful week. Here's to looking forward to mortgage interest rates stabilizing, maybe coming down some more, and give me a call if you have any questions at all. Take care.